Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Cash for Your Home podcast. I'm Chuck Peters, and I want to welcome some very special guests today from New Jersey. I have Ryan Sunden and
Theresa Sunden.
Theresa Sunden. Congratulations, you guys. Thanks so much for being on the podcast. I appreciate it. Now, I know you're in North Jersey. You're in a small town called Northvale. Am I getting that right?
Correct. Right outside of New York City, about 25 minutes.
Excellent. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you guys on the podcast is because I know that you do cash offers, and obviously that's what we're all about. But I also know from reading reviews and looking at your business that you guys really have a heart to help the community. And so I wanted to see if we could talk about cash offers in a way that makes sense to people. But before we get into that, I just had a few questions to help listeners explore and understand who you guys are.
Shoot.
Cool. So let me ask you this: what is the thing about real estate that drew you guys into it? Why do you do real estate?
Ladies first.
That's a fantastic question. Yeah. So for me, it was straight out of high school. I have always been an opera singer. That is my first love. And real estate provided me originally a vehicle where I could explore both passions without being tied down to a 9-to-5, right? And ironically, that's also where I met my now husband. So
Amen.
All fruits of my labor pouring into real estate, I thought it was just going to be like a side thing, whatever. But after my first closing 8 some odd years ago, I really fell in love with it. It became a second passion.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Wow. So you've been in real estate for 8 years, Theresa?
Yeah, just about 8 years. Ryan, a little bit longer. Actually, we met at a CE class.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Very early.
So tell them the story about how we met.
Oh, that's putting me on the spot there. Okay. So I was at one of these you had to go to for some type of certification. I just remember everybody standing up in the room and having to put up their hand and give like an oath. And it was very official, especially early on as a realtor, you would get the little R pin. I do remember that. And I remember also we had to fill out some paperwork. And then when we were done, just like any classroom, you go up to the front of the room and you drop it off to the teacher. And so as I went up, I saw this beautiful Italian girl and I was like, And so I needed something to break the ice, and she was drinking kombucha. And I know nothing about kombucha. I really have never even tasted it. And I said, oh, I love that kombucha. It's my favorite flavor. And so pretty much we started talking, and I asked her, where she's from. She says Northvale. I grew up from Northvale. And then I said, what school did you go to? Like high school? And same high school. And then just Italians. What church do you go to? And she said, St. Anthony's, same church as me. And so at that point, I'm like, is there cameras? Am I being punked? Like, this is too weird. And so shortly thereafter, we kind of bumped into each other at another function. And we just started kind of helping each other on the journey. Whether it was scripting, whether it was just getting our New York license, because we both have New York, New Jersey. I also have Florida. And just kind of helping each other on the journey of becoming the best realtor possible. Throughout that time, obviously the friendship grew. We gave it one try. We went out on one date because we didn't want to ruin what we had. And a lot of times, sometimes that will blow up a beautiful friendship. And so the rest is history. The date evidently went magnificent because on Saturday, which is tomorrow, we're having our 1-year anniversary. I put a ring on it, and she made me the happiest and luckiest man in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
I mean, our business is so very, intertwined with our lives.
Exactly.
Like we take calls at 8:00 at night to serve our clients. And, if I wasn't in real estate, maybe I wouldn't understand those long hours, but it just works so wonderfully because we both are, and we're here serving the clients, and we know what it takes. And we respect each other's work ethic.
100%.
Speaking of work ethic, why don't you tell them who your mother is?
Okay. Also being put on the spot twice in a row, but this is for everybody to kind of get a better close-up view of us and what we're about. My mother, also my mentor, she was number one in Mary Kay before she retired. She started off as a beautician, went in entry-level Mary Kay and then ascended up decades later. I look at her as a pioneer in sales. She started in the 70s where there wasn't a lot of women in sales. And I saw what it took to become number one. So I knew that it definitely had its challenges, but I also saw the rewards, and I was living proof by her giving me and my family a wonderful life. We are blessed to live in a great community, college, all of the things that I definitely don't take for granted, and I want to provide one day for our family.
Yeah. And you have 2 degrees. I don't have any. He has a psychology degree, and he was actually a teacher first, weren't you?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's right on par. Like you say, okay, we're out with the heart of a teacher. Well, he's living proof because he literally was a teacher. And what would you say was like the reason, like, you didn't want to go into sales right away? Like, what stopped you from, jumping right in like I did?
I would just say that, it is a lot of time away from the family. That's why I was aforementioning those challenges.
Yeah.
And so when I first started, I wanted nothing to do with sales because I was focusing on, I guess, the negative. And then throughout my teaching years, which I love, I coached. It was fantastic. I do want to get back into coaching down the road. But definitely not education. It has since changed from when I first started. And God bless all the teachers out there.
God bless you all.
I would say that the biggest thing for me would be taking... Let's stop right there. I feel like she's kind of doing your job too much.
Okay.
I don't know.
I love it. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'll guide it back in. Don't worry about it.
Because I just wanted it to be you asking us questions and she's asking me questions, and it's too much.
I was gonna ask if she were to have started again, I probably would have jumped in. Go. A follow-up question's fine.
I don't even know who to look at.
No, I got it. Bud. Don't worry. So what did you ask him?
I said why he initially didn't jump right into sales, because I wanted to show people that, hey, like, he understands the negative realities around salespeople, and he really comes with the heart of a teacher to challenge that. He's not like a regular old real estate agent. Like, he literally says he's a gym teacher that sells houses.
So let me pause. He is going to ask us, and there's no continuity with us. If you're asking me questions, it's separating us.
Perfect.
So we want to jive as one.
Got it.
That's what I'm trying to say.
All right, so if you answer that question, then I'll go to the next question. It works well, Theresa, if you do know something, and if you can prod it. But then let me bring it, because I'll drive the train, right? But if you know something, you can poke it, right? And then I'll bring it back around to the next question.
Perfect. All right.
All right. So if we start over, Ryan, with you just answering the question, then I'll just cut this.
Again, because it was I just needed the question, and I'm good.
Why you didn't originally go into sales, why you were a teacher, and to show the audience that you have a heart of a teacher.
So I originally didn't go into sales because I saw a lot of what I aforementioned earlier in terms of the challenges. I had a great career as a teacher, a coach, miss it, and eventually want to go back into coaching, not teaching. God bless all the teachers out there. It's definitely a... You happened? Good, man?
Yeah, what happened?
Why are you just prodding me like that? I can talk.
I'm fine. Yeah, it was a Zoom.
It was never a problem with me not talking.
It's all good. We're on.
Okay.
So let me ask the question. So teaching. So you were in teaching, right? You were a teacher before.
Yes.
And a coach. What did you coach?
I coached soccer, basketball, and baseball. Of those three, I would say soccer is number one, followed by basketball. And then I would say I will never coach baseball again. Not that I couldn't. I just felt like, it really wasn't as rewarding as the other two aforementioned. UConn basketball, I had the pleasure of going up there, coaching for a couple summers. That was phenomenal. I had opportunity to see some future NBA players and work with some of the greatest coaches, Calhoun, Blaney. Shout out to both of them. They are amazing teachers and coaches, both of which I draw upon some of those experiences to today. It's not just sports when you go up there, it's life. And they kind of teach you what needs to happen, punctuality. God is in the details, where the being as prepared as possible will help you. Won't guarantee a win or victory, but it will put you in the position to succeed at a high level. And that's exactly what they did, winning countless NCAA championships.
Well, what brought you out of teaching and coaching into sales?
I mean, if I'm being honest, which I'm honest to a fault, anybody that knows me will tell you that, I would probably say this would be number one, which would be money. Teachers don't make a lot of money, and it was good in terms of, while I was single, while I was one entity, but I wanted to, eventually get married, settle down, have kids, and I knew that salary wasn't impossible, but it was difficult. So that was probably number one of sales. And then when I looked and explored every different avenue of sales, I knew that real estate was the best level that fit me. And then along the way, I knew that if I kept focusing on the money, that would not happen. I needed to focus on the client. And if I took care of the client in every small detail and put them first, the money would follow suit and it would handle itself. And the rest is history, so to speak.
When I read your website, when I read the content on your website, what I see is I see a person who wants to educate
Yes.
and then coach. And it kind of all clicks now. It kind of makes sense. And so that begs the question, what was the wildest thing you've ever seen in real estate?
How much time do you have?
Give me a highlight.
There's a lot out there. I'll probably say, because we're talking about Northvale, we had one house that another agent was offering a very small amount of money. Obviously, that goes all cash. As is, you don't have to do anything. And we were able to explain to that client, hey, listen, if you just spent a little bit more time, a little bit more money, I will help out. I will kind of GC this, if you will, which means general contractor, kind of oversee foreman, that sort of speak. We were able to get that particular client $200,000 plus more dollars in their pocket. And that's probably also the hardest thing, is when I'm meeting people for the first time. Realtors don't have the best resume. They don't have, we're right up par with lawyers and politicians. I have to kind of pay, I say a lot, for the sins of other realtors. Mm-hmm. And so once they see that I'm genuine, I'm putting their needs and them first, then kind of that guard comes down. And then it's just a process. It's not going to happen overnight. I have to earn that trust. And I like to say I do. And my clients become lifelong friends. We have, even on our wedding, we had a bunch of clients there. Yeah. We just had last week a dinner with another client. Next week, we have dinner with another client. We go to barbecues often. We get invited to birthdays for kids. We really do care about our clients. Obviously, the results are paramount, because you're not going to invite a realtor to a barbecue if they didn't knock it out of the park for you, in the sales of their house, or helping you get them their dream home, so to speak.
How long have you been doing this? I know Theresa's been doing it 8 years. You've been doing it longer, but moreover, how many real estate transactions have you been involved with?
Too many. No, I'm joking. Or not enough, I should say. I'd probably comfortably say hundreds. Probably around, if I had to push come to shove, 150 roughly. That goes New York, New Jersey, and Florida. And this particular market is on fire. Yes. We're working, I jokingly say 8 days a week. We're putting in usually about 14-hour days. We're right on Paris Ave, which is a pretty busy street. And you'll be hard-pressed to drive past it and not see our light on at night. And we do that because we're really big believers in the Your Home Sold Guaranteed vision. They are starting up a brokerage, and they're about to go public in about a year or two. But we love the culture. It's perfect in terms of our fit. we had the experience with another brokerage, Theresa, two brokerages, and we kind of compare and contrast that this is definitely the future. Anybody that's not interested or doesn't know, rather said, your home sold guaranteed, I'd love to have that conversation to show all the features and benefits. Big thing is, our name is our promise. Your home sold guaranteed, or we'll buy it. Your home sold guaranteed, or we'll sell it for free. We have a plethora of other guarantees as well, but it's something that we do. We don't just say it. We actually write it into the contract, so it's legally binding. So that's another layer of reassuring our clients that they're on the right path, and they're going to get every dime of equity out of their particular property and sell it. In the case of buyers, we're seeing a lot of multiple offers. We're going to get a lot of offers accepted when they're going against 10, 20 other offers. It's not just who has that most amount of money, the highest number. It also is terms. And we do a great job. I like to say I have many feathers in my cap, tools in my toolbox, whatever cliche you'd like to add, we have. And that allows us to shine among those other offers. And then reputation. Some of those agents know myself, know Theresa, know that we are going to do whatever it takes to make this deal as smooth as possible. And they appreciate that, because there's some deals every realtor could tell you that are absolute nightmares. You're pulling your hair out, very stressful. We want to tell them that that's not going to happen. So it's a lot of reverse engineering. We focus on offers that we ourselves accepted, and then how can we best duplicate that? It's not like we're reinventing the wheel. We're just picking and choosing some other person that did a great job in getting their offer accepted. Well, let's add that. Let's add that. Let's add that. And then just a culmination. What would you say?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, our company is unlike any other that I've ever experienced. I would say, you found it actually during COVID. You found it. Ryan was looking for a way to last in this market, and the current brokerage model just was great, but it wasn't serving us to the level we knew we wanted to give to the market. Like, we wanted consumer benefits and guarantees, and every time we would introduce that, we were bumping our heads on the ceiling.
Correct.
So you literally at 2:00 in the morning, I remember,
I do some of my finest work at that hour.
Yeah, you discovered this whole idea of your home sold guaranteed realty, and I mean, we went to one conference and we were hooked.
Can we talk about that for a minute? I gotta be honest. I have a confession to make.
Please.
I didn't until very recently understand the difference between the realtor, the people interact with, and the rest of the business. And so I think it's really easy to overlook the fact that we as a general public, we just know that there's realtors, and they're Remax realtors or they're their own name realtors. We don't really understand how brokerages work. I mean, it's the same with like lawyers. Like, it's like Johnson and Smith attorney, but then the actual attorney is Joe, whatever. How does this whole thing, what is a brokerage, and what does that have to do with the realtors? And now I know part of this answer, but I'm just going to point out that you are the owner, broker, and a realtor.
Yeah.
Okay. So can you break out those just very quickly? Give me some kind of so that I can understand, and everybody can understand what the heck a broker is versus an owner versus a realtor.
So Theresa is our broker, so I'm going to let her take that.
Yeah, so a broker just makes sure that everything's running smoothly. The broker is the one that makes sure that the clients are definitely satisfied. If there's anything that, was overlooked by the particular agents, I'll step in and we'll make sure that everybody is satisfied and clients' expectations are exceeded. And we also just make sure that everything's running smoothly and we're in compliance and all the fun little detail stuff that, maybe isn't noticed, but goes a very long way.
Definitely.
So it sounds like the broker is legally on the hook for the operation of the business, being that the real estate business is highly regulated, and the broker would be the person that is responsible to make sure that all the laws and regulations are all followed.
Correct. Yes. We stay in compliance with the state. We document every single piece of paperwork, all of that fun, detail, nitty gritty stuff. And you are the owner.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but you have to have a license to be a broker, right? You can't just call yourself a broker.
No, yeah, that was a big point of contention, right? Like we were like, okay, can we really do this? Can I really get my broker's license and really do this thing? And he gave me, the belief, before I had it in myself, and he was like, yeah, I know you can do this, Theresa. I know you can do it.
She is one of the youngest brokers, not just in this area, not just in New Jersey, but across the country. She came straight out of high school and has been doing nothing but real estate. And so you always have a lot of naysayers or haters or whatnot, but I knew what she's capable of. And so she kind of just jumped into that role. And I learned from one of my other teams that I was on an expression that is perfect for this right here is we're building the plane as we fly it. And so, yes, we don't know everything, but the things that we don't know or the little mistakes that we do make, and those are few and far between, we learn from those and they never, ever happen again. And so that's something that we do with our agents is we go over our gratitude, our wins, and our dummy tax. And so we share our dummy tax. And the reason why is because if some other agent sees something similar, they don't have to fail. Okay. They can remember the story and how it was overcame. Or if they had an unsuccessful try at doing it, we then brainstorm at if you could do it again, what would you do? And together we kind of get not just one, but we like to have at least two different workarounds, as we call it. And that's big, something Todd Walters instilled on us is find the workaround. In real estate, you're gonna find kind of roadblocks a lot. And if you just give up, you're not gonna be successful in this business. Every roadblock, we find multiple paths around it. And that's what we talk about is finding the workaround in everything, not just but life.
So it became obvious to me, transitioning from what she was saying to what you're saying, it became obvious to me that she is the broker.
Yes.
And then you're also, then you're the business owner. And so I hear her speak to the legality of having a broker's license and finding the details to be accurate and making sure that everybody's towing the line and staying on board with everything that needs to be done. And then I hear from what you're saying, I hear that business owner. And I hear that coach. I actually hear a business coach who's coming in and going, "Hey, this is what you missed that 3-pointer at the buzzer, so we're going to practice that. We're going to practice that 100 times, and we're not going to miss the 3-pointer at the buzzer anymore." So I see the business owner and the broker of record coming together, married, right? Coming together and working through this business to make it 100% the best real estate business it can be, and B, 100% the best business or sales business or production business that it can be. And so it really is a unique team. There are so many business owners who do not work with their spouses.
A lot of people are like, how do you do it?
But you two play a incredibly important role. Each of you plays a separate, incredibly important role, and then you come together to work through that. And that's amazing to me. I love that. And I think that if you can have the mutual respect to work with a spouse, then that tells me that you're going to have the mutual respect for the client and for the team members. And it kind of becomes part of the culture. And I'm just guessing at that because I obviously don't work there, but that it just, to me, it's got to bleed over into the culture. But let me back up a minute and let me just ask you this. Broker of record, the license, and there's a business, and the business name is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty, and that is the brokerage. So you have a team of realtors and other staff who work at the brokerage, which is a business called Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And you mentioned other people. What is Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty?
I'll let her do it, and I'll fill in wherever is needed.
Sure. So Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty exists to be the best place to work, buy, and sell real estate. That's our mission statement, right? So it was very apparent that there was a void in the marketplace for incredible service and guarantees. So often in our marketplace, there's a lot of promises, but they have no teeth to them. The realtor will say, I'll get you XYZ number. The client falls in love. The seller's like over the moon. And then when it doesn't happen and it sits for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, they're left holding the bag with no consequence to the realtor. And we just were like, well, that's not right. Like, there should be a consequence to the realtor. So that's why we fell in love, I think, really, with that Your Home Sold Guaranteed, 100% of asking price, or we pay you the difference.
It's just one of our options.
It's just one. And that's really the one that speaks to me, because I'm very results oriented. Even with opera, like, if you don't hit the right note, you did it wrong, So if you don't hit the right result, you did it wrong. So for me, that was just so incredibly powerful to be able to provide a guarantee like that, and to have a consequence to the agent if we weren't able to fulfill it, for sure.
Agreed. I would say that her doing what she does best and myself doing what I do best, we play to our strengths. And I feel like that allows us to serve the client best. And I think the main thing that she was saying, that I heard at least, was putting the client first. And some other brokerages, don't say names, have too many good things to say about us and talk poorly about another. That's just the way I was raised. They put their company first.
Right.
And so making it all about the client, making them feel special, being authentic is one thing, making people feel special, but just you're fake. I have no tolerance for that. And I anticipate that clients don't either. So just being true, being real. Like I just said, she's very good at certain things. So I have her do those things in the business. I take the things that I'm good at. And then we have other agents that play to their strengths as well. But the commonality between all of us is the Your Home Sold Guaranteed philosophy. And there's just so much in terms of coaching. The content, it's second to none. I really fell in love. We started off with a different brokerage and we were part of the base coaching program. And then every year it just got more and more until we got to platinum level. And then we heard about them going off and starting a brokerage. And that's a big jump. Mm-hmm. You really have to buy in if you're investing pretty much our life in starting up a brokerage. At the time, other owners of brokerages told me I was absolutely crazy while they were trying to recruit me.
Yeah.
Just fun fact. But I have that mindset, like, you make money when there's blood in the street. So we went full tilt towards it. We've poured our heart and soul in it. We've had the blessing of a great, strong market. But even if it wasn't strong, with the Your Home Sold Guaranteed philosophy, they show us ways of making money, whether it's a seller's market, a buyer's market, in between. And that's one of the things I love best about where we are. And we're just growing. And our agents that came in early, they got in on the ground floor, and they're getting top-notch one-on-one coaching with myself or Theresa. We do team meetings once per week. And why do we do that? Because I always say we want to sharpen that axe. And that is, once again, in the best interest of the client. So I always say they're not getting one agent, they're getting a team.
Yeah. So you talked about you hit the roadblock and you got to find a workaround, right? There are dozens of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty brokerages across North America. Did you get an opportunity to discover how other teams have found workarounds for similar problems in those other brokerages across North America?
100%. Not only do we have a great connection with a lot of what I call the heavy hitters, multi-million dollar agents annually that are an open book, whether it's picking up a phone or seeing them at conferences. Around here, a lot, not every, but a lot of the top agents are more guarded. Mm-hmm. And it was a breath of fresh air when we were able to go up to somebody making 10, 20 million annually, and they would just give us answers to anything. You say, you have anything else? And it was just, we knew that was the right room for us, and that has helped us grow insurmountably. And we also believe in paying it forward. So when we see a newer agent, or if we have a new hire, we pour into them just like they poured into us. So we have that culture just continuing to grow.
Yeah.
We've interviewed a number of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty brokerages on the podcast. And the common thread is, like you said, this community where people are open. They're open to sharing. And I personally have received a lot of teaching and coaching and feedback that has really helped me personally. And again, I see it here with you guys. You guys are communicating to me that you're embracing this community. And I just don't see how, if you're a individual brokerage business who has no connection with the larger community across Canada and the United States, and how that wouldn't benefit. So that all makes sense to me. Everything you're saying makes sense. So that leads me to the question. So you're the business owner, you're the broker. It's your home sold guaranteed realty brokerage. You have all the systems and processes. You have all the coaching in house, externally. You have a community. So let's feed all this back into the cash offer, because I have to know, how in the world does a cash offer work for you guys in your market? What is this all about? Is somebody going to show up with a duffel bag full of cash? Like, what is the deal? Tell me all about it. Spare no expense. I have to know.
I'm going to let Theresa take it away.
Yeah, for sure. So we got the access to the cash offer platform through our brokerage. And that was another game changer, I have to
100%.
say, speaking to that abundance mentality. And at first I was like, how does this work? You know, like, so we played around with it. We called up an expired and we're like, hey, do you want multiple cash offers on your house? And he's like, no, that's not too good to be true.
We get that a lot.
Right. So I went through the platform.
Hold on a second. You called up an expired? What does that mean?
we do guilty of speaking realtors, so
yes.
Thank you.
So expireds are people in our marketplace that were on the market but failed to sell for whatever reason.
You don't see it as much nowadays because the market's red hot and you could pretty much sell a house with a train going through it.
But I have to tell you guys, my mother knows that I have friends in real estate or know people in real estate, and she said, I'm going to list my rental property for sale. And she said, can you come to the meeting and meet the realtor? And so I observed and made some comments. And my opinion was that this person working independently on their own was not too excited about listing this home. It wasn't very pretty. It wasn't very big. It was a rental. It just wasn't the best. I saw that he didn't care. And then, sure enough, 6 months goes by. The house didn't have a single appointment. Nobody came to look at it. And they just exited stage left. And that was it. So that would be, my mother in this situation would be considered an expired in this.
Oh, 100%.
Correct.
And I love what you said in terms of, that person not being excited. Because when we go on listing presentations, it's not like 100% we're even going to take the home. First thing we do is we go on and we look around at the home. We have the client, the seller, share not just the house, because it's 4 walls and a roof, and that's boring. But we ask them to tell us kind of stories about the house. So if it does make sense for us to work together while we're doing showings, and a lot of the time we're there personally to show the home, because I feel like a buyer's agent, the realtor that the buyers use to show them the home, is not going to be as intimate with the home and know all the features and benefits as well as us. So some things will be left out and missed. And that could be the difference with either them putting an offer forward or maybe not a high enough offer. And that's not in the best interest of our client. So I truly believe that we have to share that vision with the seller of this home selling, and also selling for the number. Obviously, most sellers think their house is worth more, and we get that.
Everybody does.
We share with them the numbers. I always say people lie, numbers don't. So we share with them comparable homes, 3-bedroom, 4-bedroom, whatever the case may be, similar area. And then we share them based on those homes. Which do you think is most likely like yours in terms of price point? And so when we come to that agreement and we have that shared vision, it's going to typically sell in 6 days for 6 figures over ask. And that's a big claim to make. But that's something where we're even going higher than that. We're instead of getting 100 even, we're getting 127 or 145 and things like that. This market is red hot, and our job is not just to sell it for a really high number. We want to set a record. So please, cash offers.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, we give sellers 2 options, right? It's like, hey, do you want to get absolute top dollar every single penny of equity out of your house? Great. You're going to need to paint. You're going to need to mulch. You're going to need to do some touch-ups to the house, and it's probably going to take 2 to 3 weeks to get it ready, because we want to present the most beautiful, pristine product. But
one chance to make a first impression.
Exactly. But there are some select sellers out there that are like in dire straits, need to sell this house, need to sell it now, want an as-is sell. And any buyer that walks through the door, unfortunately, is just going to be turned away, whether it's an outdated kitchen, functionally obsolete, like whatever.
Or they don't even know how to use a screwdriver. You know, a lot of that we're seeing is either they don't know how to do or they just don't want to be bothered. And so some people, there's an expression, turnkey ready, where all they have to do is turn the key and it's all ready. Mm-hmm. We like to say toothbrush ready, where they just bring a toothbrush and they're all set. And sometimes a house maybe needs a little work. We could get them in touch with our preferred vendors to do the work. So literally, they're not going to be bothered. They have work, they have their family. They don't have all this extra time. That's where we step in. We're going to act as that buffer and help them get the job done and then get it on market in the best possible condition. We like to say that if they did $1,000, something small, maybe a little paint here and there, maybe a little mulch, we can 10x that, 25x that. If it's a little higher, $5,000, I still feel comfortable in saying that we can 10x that. It really a case by case scenario, but one thing is guaranteed: if they put a little bit more work, the results are going to follow, and they're going to be happy at the end of the day. And we don't want to just make them happy. We want to just blow them away, knock their socks off. And that's really our goal. And those people that bet on us, we want to repay that trust tenfold.
So what about the people that do just kind of, they don't necessarily care to make it the most, get the highest top dollar, but it's really more like, I see this as a situation that I'm trying to exit.
Yeah.
And maybe time is worth more than what does that look again? Like, how does this work? Like, let me put it this way. So I saw in our neighborhood, a family went through a divorce.
Yep.
And so then we had the father remained in the home. And then the father ended up moving. So now he's got the second home. And, what I noticed, what I observed was that there was disrepair. There were situations. And he was moved. It moved. And the next thing I know, there's an auction sign in the front yard. So it seems like to me, if you're in that situation, at least this person felt like, and it made sense to me, the best case was to go to the auction house and maybe, I don't know how this stuff works, but it seems like maybe he could have done with a cash offer. What is
100%. And that's what we say to them. Hey, listen, we can sell it as is, just the way you have it. But if you're doing a little work, it's going to be in your best interest and you'll get more money. But like you said, maybe it's a divorce. Maybe it's just a very difficult situation. And so what we do in that case is we sell it the way it is. Maybe it's quickly, they need it yesterday, and we will still get them top dollar for the current condition. But we're sharing with them that if they want to get and maximize their equity preservation, another realtor language, they want to get every dime out of their pocket, out of the house and into their pocket, then this is what they want to do. But like you said, to your point, if they just want it yesterday and they don't want to be bothered, they don't really care about maybe getting an extra 50, 75, dare I say, 6 figures over ask, then we give them some of our buyers, some of our investors, which are a plethora of. We can give them straight cash. If you want to share some of the other ways that they can get a little bit more money without doing all of the repairs.
Absolutely.
And things of that nature.
Yeah, so I want to speak to what Chuck just said and back up the train for a second. Okay. So you're absolutely right. This is what we refer to in our marketplace as distressed sellers, right? There's some sort of distressing situation that they're experiencing, and maybe it's too emotionally charged to go back into that house and paint. Like there's so many reasons why a person just would want to just sell as is, and we respect that and we honor that, right?
100%.
So I'll give you a scenario. There was a pre-foreclosure seller that we were working with, and it was a beautiful family, and they wanted to move back to their home country, not America. And he was like, I want out. I'm going. I'm flying tomorrow. Like, you take care of the house, you and Ryan.
Agreed.
And okay. Like, we can't do all the things that the seller would do, and he has no money to pay us to do it. So what do? Well, we went on our cash offer platform. We called up one of the investors. They gave us an offer. We countered the offer, and they were able to move on without having a heavy burden of a foreclosure on their back. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so how does I don't even know how to ask the question. How does it actually work? Because what I imagine is when you sell a house, someone walks through the house and they go, okay, I'll buy this house, and then you meet up somewhere and everybody signs paperwork, and then you end up with no mortgage, right? And so, but what is the difference between a regular sale? When I say regular, what's the difference between a regular sale and a cash offer sale in terms of what me as the seller, what I could expect as far as experience goes? What is different?
Yeah. So, I mean, with a cash offer, there's absolutely no foot traffic. There's, in some cases, no sign in the yard. So it's totally confidential, it's discreet, and they can preserve their dignity if it is a distressing situation. The other amazing part about it now is we utilize a digital signing. So they don't ever even have to meet the buyer if they don't want to. They can do everything online virtually. The only thing maybe they would come for is an inspection, but even that can be done on FaceTime.
Agreed.
I mean, it's so super simple nowadays to just get with a cash offer company, an institutional buyer, and sell it in like 7 to 14 days.
So these cash buyers, they're not Russian oligarchs.
No.
They're not Saudi oil money. Like, these are just business owners in America who invest in houses.
Yep. They're definitely, I would say, professionals. Sometimes they're out of state, sometimes they're in state. We work with both. I like to say that we're kind of that buffer. We're that person that brings the worlds together. And I definitely understand that people sometimes would leave kind of meat on the bone in order to just get on to the next step of their life, because we don't judge, and we also don't get in the habit of spending our clients' money.
Right.
But we do share with them, and I like I said, I'm guilty of honesty almost to a fault, of saying, if I were you, I would do this. Almost treating them like family, but also being professional, and just sharing with them, I would do this, but understand if you can't do that or you don't want to do that, then we have this as an option: A, B, C, and D. Right. And we just lay it all out and we let them choose.
Yeah.
They're the boss. We work for them. We're old school like that, where the client is always right.
So I have a friend who's a general contractor. Please. And he has a group of 12 people. One of them is a home repair. Another is a painter. Another is a kitchen guy. And these guys, they pool their money and they buy houses.
Smart.
Would that be the kind of investors that you're dealing with? Just people that just buy houses?
There are, we deem those flippers. And hey, listen, it's not as prevalent as it once was maybe 5-10 years ago, just because the inventory is so low. And that the amount of money that they'll pay for the house, there's really little for them to, even after fixing up, make a profit or turn a profit. These are people that they're successful in a different line of work, and they see the value of investing in real estate. Warren Buffett says, you're not truly rich until you make money while you're sleeping. And with purchasing homes, you can generate passive income. And that's exactly what you're doing, where you're actually making money while you sleep. And this is something that is not just going to help them in the immediate future. This turns into generational wealth, will help their family. And we have clients that have purchased homes a lot, and they don't have a retirement. They don't have a pension. And so what they do is they just sell a home. Now they're in the later stage of their life, where they sell a home maybe once every other year or once 5 years, and they live off that because they've set up such a beautiful portfolio. Now they can still live comfortably with not selling any home and just living off the rent that they get. But maybe they want to go and travel the world, or they want to purchase another home in a different country. Maybe they want to pay for their daughter's wedding. That is, hands down the best wedding ever, which it wouldn't be. It would be the second best. But at the end of the day, these are just options, and we want to give them as many options as possible. And whatever they choose, we support 100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let me just wrap this up, because I know you guys are busy. So let me just ask you 2 more questions. And then the second question I'm going to ask you is how people can get a hold of you. But before I get to that, I want to ask this question. I want to know what the coolest part about your wedding was. What was the coolest part about the wedding?
There was a few, but I'll say for me, and I'll ask you maybe how you would react, but in the wedding, my wife is an opera singer. Easy for me to say. And she serenaded me during the reception. And it was absolutely beautiful. My heart melted. I just didn't know what to do with my hands because I have everybody looking at her and me. And I'm giving her one of these. I'm giving her one of these. And I can't just, all I want to do is grab her and hug her. When I say to you, I'm the luckiest man in the world, I really am. We work very hard. Our days are always, booked up, but I made for certain that tomorrow we have absolutely nothing. And we're luckily able to achieve that because we have a team of agents that steps up if we ever need that and vice versa.
Yeah.
And so I would say that would be my number one is having my wife, with her gift that God gave her of the most beautiful voice in the world, sing to me on our special day.
Aren't you sweet?
It's the truth.
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, well, I was probably the tarantella that we all danced. And our clients from all walks of life were also there. So they're here doing the tarantella with us. And we're like, are we in reality right now? Like, what?
But I don't want to even call them clients because they've graduated. They're not clients. They've morphed into friends. So everybody there was friends and family. We had nobody there who was quote unquote clients.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
What you did the what? What is it?
The tarantella. We're both Italian.
Okay, I'm Irish, so you got to explain it to me. What is it?
Yeah, it becomes like an Italian family. You don't have to be Italian by origin, but it's really the sense of community that it creates among us all. And we all felt that we were family, even though some of them had only just become recently like family. So yeah, that's kind of our take on the way that we approach life.
I loved her when they threw her up in the chair. That was a good time for me, especially her being afraid of heights. That was another great time.
Okay, so somebody's interested in buying in your area, or maybe they got something to sell and need some help. How do they get a hold of you?
I would say it's as simple as a phone call, a text. She can talk to you more on.
What's the number?
Emails. It's 201-739-6443. And I like to say to people, listen, just give me a call, see if it makes sense. I'm going to come over like we're old friends. And I'm going to make this as easy and stress-free as possible. I'm going to share with you everything I do, whether it's a seller to get your home sold or go over. And we don't even have to meet if you're a buyer. We can set up a Zoom and just go over what you're looking for. If you had a magic wand, so to speak, and you could just, use it, and what would that perfect house look like? And how could we set up a strategy to get your offer accepted? Because that's probably the hardest thing in this seller's market is getting your offer accepted over a ton of other offers. And luckily we're able to do that. And that's due to a lot of the time the Your Home Sold Guaranteed content and strategy and teaching. And then also, like I said, the reverse engineering of other offers that we have personally accepted. And then just kind of morphing both of those together and 100% putting the client first. I want them to know that as we're not your typical realtor. Like she said, well, I'm a gym teacher that sells houses. I'm not a realtor, okay? Because the realtor has a negative connotation connected to it. I care about you, and I know it's easy to say, but it's a little harder to prove. Let me have the opportunity to prove it to you day in and day out. And Theresa, please share some other ways that they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the best thing probably would be just knock on the door. Like, we're hyper local. We're here based in Northvale, New Jersey. I mean, you can literally come up to our office. We're super friendly. We don't bite. Knock on the door, 132 Paris Ave, right next to the post office. You can't miss it.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being on the Cash for Your Own podcast. I appreciate you. Love you. Respect you. I just love what you're doing. And thank you so much for taking the time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jack.
Have a good day.
You too.